I was doing everything that was required of me and even going above and beyond that. And I just wasn't getting the kind of recognition for the work that I was doing. And at the time, it was really frustrating because I felt like, what do I need to do? This is what I was told is the key to being successful here at this company. You keep your head down, you do what your supervisor tells you to do, you do it before the deadline, right? And that should be enough. And that was a long, long time ago at the very beginning of my career. I used to have that kind of impression of this is what it looks like to be successful at work. And I was so wrong. I was so wrong about that. And I'm really glad that I found some solutions for that because honestly, it left me feeling so frustrated and confused and in the dark, wondering what else do I need to do to prove myself here? The turning point when I started to realize that it's less about just making a first impression in person and more about making sure that you also have a presence online and that you're making a really good, solid, strong presence online in grad school. And this was back when LinkedIn was still bright and shiny and fresh. And you could literally just put your resume on there and leave it alone, set it and forget it. It's not like that anymore. One person who really inspired me to take a look at my LinkedIn and see it as an opportunity to do more and to market myself as a, a personal brand, right? Heather Walker. At the time I was Heather Thornton, and it was John Nemo. John Nemo is a marketer. He's on LinkedIn. He talks about LinkedIn riches and what you can do to make sure that your profile is optimized so that when people search for you, they can find you, they know what you're all about, they know they can see the recommendations, they can see your skills, and it makes it a little bit easier to want to work with you. But even before that, I would say what got me started on this path of, hey, guess what? Your digital presence is just as important. And also thinking about that SEO side of it is when I started applying to jobs after school and I realized, wow, this is a hard process. This takes 6 months to get a decent job, the kind of job that I'm looking for that's in line with my skill set and school and all of that stuff. And I started doing research and I found out that employers and HR departments use tools to comb through all of that information. Like way back when 50 applications would come in. Maybe you'd have to read through them. Maybe you would focus on the ones that came in first or the ones that came in very last and they're at the top of your pile. But now there are tools that basically use AI that grade everything that comes in, your application, your resume, your presence. There are even online interviews where you're being interviewed by an AI agent. And so once I started to notice that they're building in tools to scrape and review and look at the documents that you're sharing, that a human isn't even looking at that anymore, that's when it became very clear to me that, you know what, I need to make sure that I'm not just thinking about the human I want to work with, but I'm also thinking about how do I get through the door and that AI gatekeeper that is there and is going to make sure that I don't get any opportunities if I don't know the game and how the game is played and I'm not playing. If I'm not playing by the rules, I'm not getting in to that door. So that was something that was kind of pivotal, I think, when I started to think about this whole how to get a job thing differently and what it looks like to pay attention to your online presence. So some of the key changes that I made to my own digital footprint, especially early on, is I started to look at how am I collecting receipts? Receipts that support the work that I'm doing, that show that I'm doing good work. I started reaching out to my colleagues to say, "Hey, can you recommend me?" It only if you think my work is worth recommending, go ahead and fill that out on LinkedIn. I have lots of recommendations on LinkedIn, and it's usually because I've asked for them. It's not necessarily something that people automatically think, "Oh, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this and I'm going to write this person a recommendation," because guess what? They're busy. But if you ask, they're more likely to do it. So I asked fellow students who had worked on projects with me. I asked my coworkers. When I left a position, I asked people to take a moment and connect with me on LinkedIn. And then if they did connect with me on LinkedIn, I followed up and I said, "Hey, would you be willing to write a recommendation for me?" So recommendations was one of the first things that I started. Another is taking the time to think about that line just under your name. That line is gold because when people are searching you up and when you're connecting with someone, and that is the first one of the first things they see. After they see your face, they see your name and they see your tagline. When I first started, I'm taking it way back. I remember the advice way back when was to put on your resume, "I'm seeking this kind of position," that kind of thing. That's fine. But I think we can take it a step further. I think you can make your tagline something that's inspirational, intriguing. There's a couple of different ways that you can do it. And I actually change mine up all the time, depending on what I'm promoting at any given time. I'm always testing out different taglines. You can use taglines that are SEO friendly and keyword optimized. So think about it. If someone is searching for a psychologist, I'm going to show up potentially, but probably not because there's lots of psychologists. So I would actually add industrial organizational psychologist. And then if they're searching for an industrial organizational psychologist and that's in my tagline, I'm more likely to receive that connection request to be able to very clearly show that I'm the person that you are searching for. Haha, I'm here. This is me. So that is something that you could do. You can make it keyword optimized or create something that's like inspirational, like a phrase, a sentence. "I am passionate about helping people get the most out of their careers." Organizational psychologist. I remember I used to have something like organizational psychologist, business consultant, Levity enthusiast, or habanero lover, or something like that. And that third item was always something kind of silly, intriguing, and people actually sent me messages to learn more about me because of that one extra bit at the end that showed a little bit of personality. So that's the next thing. So we've got make sure that you're getting those recommendations, make sure that you are paying attention to your tagline, and then also the profile needs to be complete. And you want to post every once in a while because if you don't, people are going to think that you're not active there and they're not going to look to you as a source of information in that area. A little bit of personality goes a long way on your profile. Since we're still on LinkedIn, I have had people reach out to me to invite me to be on their podcast. I've had people reach out because for a while there, I posted podcast host on my tagline. I'm not asking for guests right now, so I don't put that there because guess what? It works. They will reach out. They will say, "Hey, I talk about this. I would love to be on your platform. Can we work together?" It can be that simple. It can be that easy. And I really didn't even have to go out and search for podcast guests. Initially, I did, and every once in a while, I kind of handpick guests. But for the most part, simple tweaks like that make it easier for people to find me. And so I've been able to get podcast guests. I've been able to get invited to podcasts through that. I've received awards because people saw that I had a presence online. They've checked out my videos, they've checked out the podcast, they've read some articles, and they said, "You know what? Your work is worthy of an award. We love what you do. It's inspirational." So, yes, and I've also been able to get contracts. I've been able to get jobs through it as well, where recruiters will reach out and they'll say, "Hey, your profile fits the description. Please apply for this job." So the possibilities are endless, endless possibilities. LinkedIn is an amazing platform when it comes to your personal brand and putting your best foot out there on a professional level. And then it's also an excellent platform to connect with people who could be your mentors. So I've connected with people who normally I would not be able to connect with, like the CEO of the company that puts out the Best Place to Work awards. I would not normally be able to have a conversation with that person. We live in different cities, we live in different states. We are, at the time, I think I was a director at that time, but it's not like, "Oh, we're mixing and mingling in the same circles." No, because of LinkedIn, I was able to connect with people who I would not normally be able to connect with in other countries, locations, people who are doing things that I wanna learn about, I wanna learn from. I've had students reach out to me to because they are interested in mentorship, students from my alma mater and the school that I went to, but also students from other schools who happened to find me and just stumbled into my space, and they reached out. They were courageous enough to reach out. And now, guess what? We're still working together. I have 3 interns that I know about who found me on LinkedIn, and they are no longer interns, but I am still very much active in their lives. I'm proud of them. I'm always paying attention to what they're doing. I see that they're using the tools and the strategies that I taught them, and they're doing really, really well. So it's so exciting to see that. So, yes, yes, there are lots of opportunities. The ceiling, there's no ceiling with LinkedIn. I feel like I've picked up a lot of tips over the years. Some of it has been through observation, some of it has been through trial and error, some of it has been through paying attention to best practice, doing the research, asking people who are gurus or gurus in this space and finding out, okay, here's theory. What actually works online? What works in today's marketplace? Thanks for tuning in to the Lead with Levity podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Walker, and I am very, very, very excited for summertime. I don't know about you, but there's something about summer for me. It just unlocks potential in new ways. I get to wear things that I wouldn't normally wear during the rest of the year. I get to experience new places. I am so looking forward to the summer. So, this summer, I'm going to release some episodes about personal branding. Yes. And if you are interested in this and you're trying to figure out, how do I make sure that I am putting my best self, my best foot out there, my best face out there? I encourage you to check out the Career Currency Roadmap. It's a PDF bundle over 100 pages of tools, reflection guides, advice, guidance by Mua. And you can use this to figure out, how can I make sure that I am standing out at work? I want you to go to work feeling confident in the knowledge that you have done everything that you can to make sure that if your boss were to answer, "Hey, tell me about this person and what they've been up to," they, you're confident that your boss would have nothing but good things to say about you. In the unlikely event, hopefully it doesn't happen at your company, but if you're ever in a situation where there's a lineup of people and names, and they're trying to figure out who should stay and who should go, who should move around, all of that stuff, your name stays on the list of essential people. Everybody's an essential person. So I, I apologize. That phrase alone, I feel like that phrase alone was so disrespectful. I apologize. We want you to show up in such a way that you are indispensable, that no matter what, you stand out, and people are vouching for you, they're fighting for you, and they're doing everything that they can to make sure that you continue to have a position at your company. And if you're looking to move up, that is also a next step for you, so that you have options and opportunities that are clear, and that you can pick and choose what you want. So you don't ever feel like, I have no choice but to be right here doing this thing, right? So that's what this is about. That's what this summer is about. And I encourage you to check out the Career Currency Roadmap Bundle. If you have any topics, questions, scenarios, anything that you are interested in me exploring over the summer, find me on Instagram at Lead with Levity, or find me on LinkedIn, because that's where I will live this summer. Connect with me, send me a message, let me know what your situation is and what you're interested in. And who knows, you may be featured on one of the upcoming episodes, or at least your story may be featured. Don't worry, I won't I won't tell anyone that you told me what you told me. So, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Lead with Levity podcast. To get resources mentioned in this episode and find out what we're all about, check us out at leadwithlevity.com.